Hello, it's Kathy and I'm back with another process video, and this one is not even about a person, I guess you could say that. It's about my daughter's shoes that look totally like the ruby slippers that Dorothy wears in the Wizard of Oz movie, because if I remember correctly in the book they are not ruby slippers, but because they were using Technicolor when they made the original movie, they changed them to ruby because it stood out more. Something like that. I remember watching some kind of making of. So anyway, that's a random tangent that I've already gone off on. But this picture was taken when she was leaving daycare, and she had completed the pre-K program there, and they had a little ceremony where they gave little certificates and everything like that, and she was dressed up. And I already have a process video and layout of like her outfit and everything for that day, but I couldn't help but take a picture of these adorable shoes, so I wanted to scrapbook them. The photo is fairly large. It's not an exact size, like it's not 4x6, it's not 5x7, it's kind of like somewhere in between, because the photos that I tend to take, and they're like a weird size. I think this was taken with my Canon camera, and so it doesn't take it like a typical size photo. It takes a very odd size, so usually you have to crop it down, but in this case I didn't crop it down, so that's why. So I can't give you the dimensions for it, but it is a slightly larger photo than I'm used to, and that's because the subject matter is not a person, so I just really wanted to showcase it a little bit larger. And because I was going to do this whole thing where I put two different papers together, one was slightly less busy than the other. As you can see, one is from Maggie Holmes Flourish. I know she already has another product line out already, but I don't have that product line. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it yet or not. I don't know. I have so much stuff already that I'm trying to get through, but there are definitely some cute products in that new one, but I'm trying to work through the older stuff right now, and this isn't even all that old. It's like a couple months old. So I'm using the busy floral pattern, and I'm making that a smaller, it's more than 1/3 of the paper, but it's not quite 2/3 of the paper. That makes sense. And I'm going through the ephemera pieces, and if you hear background noise, I'm apologizing in advance. I have my window open. It's just too warm. It's not as bad as it was. There's no heat wave anymore, but to have my window closed in my tiny little scrapbook room would be, ugh. So there's crickets and things like that, and cars. So you may hear things, but I need the air for sure. So I went through the ephemera for the Flourish collection, and I also grabbed a bunch of my acetate frames. I have a whole slew of them. A lot of them were actually bought at Michael's, and I just kind of decided to maybe use one. I do end up using one for sure, and it's a cute little red floral one, and the reason I use that one there. And you might be wondering, like, why am I bringing in red when everything on the papers is pink? But I thought that I could bring in that extra color and bring in some of that green from the grass, as well as the kind of more teal greens that are going on in the background of that busy floral. Like the floral leaves and everything themselves are not green. They are more of a blue. But I feel like I can get away with it, so I'm going to. So grab a few different pieces that I like, that I think will work. For the most part, I end up using them. I just kind of change around some of the positioning. When it comes to ephemera pieces, I don't pick any from the Flourish collection that have any kind of gold embellishing or anything, because they are more in the rose gold family, and I am actually using regular kind of yellow gold. So the Carousel collection had that. So I'm going to use products from the Carousel collection that have that gold sparkle to them, as opposed to the flourish. So, of course, one of the things Maggie Holmes does is she likes to design stuff that could all go together, which is a lot more thinking ahead than I will ever be when it comes to designing products. So, yeah, so they match really well together. And in this case, I do want to just keep to one type of gold, one type of metallic. Sometimes I don't care and I don't mind mixing and matching my metallics. Just in this case, I just decided to. I use that frame to actually frame those cute little swans, and I use the other frame to frame that big top tent, and it doesn't fit perfectly, but half of it's going to be tucked under the photo anyway, so really doesn't matter. So now it's just about placement, and I'm kind of like, I'm placing it, and I think I still end up screwing up from my original concept of where I was placing it. But I don't care. It all works out in the end. I get everything where I want it to go. So I'm going to pop the photo up with some tissue paper. I don't really want to back it because I've got so much going on right now. I've actually kind of started not backing my photos as much as I used to. I used to do like a ton of layering behind my photos, and I still do it from time to time. But it really depends on what's going on in the layout. Like if I'm using a cut file that's got a whole bunch of pattern paper backing, I'm not going to back the photo with a ton more pattern paper. It's just too much for the eyes. So, anywho, I'm gonna pop it up on foam as well because I just like that added dimension. It's pretty much a guarantee that I'm going to pop something up with fun foam. And I like buying the stuff that's already got one side sticky so that I don't have to use as much. And I always use my dry adhesive for it as well. I've mentioned that before, but I prefer to use dry adhesive. I find it works better. The liquid adhesive just seems to absorb right into the foam, and it takes forever to stick that way. So I will see eventually if that does stand the test of time using the dry adhesive, because as we all know, tape is not the best solution, but we'll see. If not, I will have to restick it. I do want to bring in some chipboard because it's not my layout if it does not have chipboard. It's my favorite embellishment. Whenever somebody says, "What's your favorite embellishment?" and chipboard pieces by far. So I love that the chipboard I'm using is from both Carousel and Flourish. And somebody's beeping their car. They're backing up, so I apologize for that beeping. I'm not sure why a truck would make that sound. Anyway, it's summer. Neighbors are going to do stuff. I love how that that flower really blends so perfectly into that busy floral background. It just looks like it's a popped up piece of the paper. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, which I just love. That Lovely is a vellum piece from the Flourish collection. I don't particularly like getting the vellum pieces. I'd actually rather get acetate than vellum pieces, just because I find that they get ruined quicker, but I guess if I use them up, then they don't get ruined anymore. So I'm going to staple them down. I did want to mention right quick, I have kind of put my Patreon on hiatus while I come up with some new designs and different things to do for it. But I did want to make a quick shout out to a huge supporter of mine. Her name is Celia Morris. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, and you can check her out at Paper Beats Rock Designs on her Instagram, and she makes cute little tags and embellishments and scrapbook pages and traveler's notebook pages, and they are amazing and so colorful and awesome. So thank you so much, Celia, for... Is it Celia? Oh, I hope it is. For all your amazing support. I really appreciate it. And anyone who is a Patreon, it will be coming back, and right now you won't be charged. So you can leave if you decide to, and if you decide to stick on, then when I bring it back up, anything that I've made, you'll be getting and stuff like that. So let me just finish with the layout because I don't want to take up too much time going off on another tangent. Those puffy stickers are old, and they're from K & Company, and they have some amazing colors in them. They have gnomes and mushrooms and flowers and dragonflies, and I just bought them. I have nothing that they match with, but I absolutely adore them, and I got to use a few on this, so it was really nice to go in and use up some stash. And I used some red floral washi tape as well, and that's just to bring in more of that red. Anywhere where I can just bring in another hint of red to match with the pinks and the teals and the greens is okay by my books. So because I used that lovely, I'm gonna make up like a title to go around it, and it's gonna say "So Lovely Shoes," and the shoes is gonna be written in gold thickers that are glittery, and the "so" is also glittery. And I think besides putting Heidi Swap Color Shine potentially in gold, or maybe in, no, it's in red. I do it in cherry. Besides that, that's it for the layout. So yay! I'm really happy with how classic and fun this one turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So pictures are coming up. I will see you all in the next layout, next video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, commenting, following, and yeah, being a part of everything that I have been doing this past little while. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day. So bye.